Ghosthunters and the Incredibly Revolting Ghost by Cornelia Funke.
Chapter 3. Hetty Hyssop. The very next Monday, Tom set off after school. He knew that address. It was the same street as the dentist Mom kept dragging him to. Hopefully that wasn't a bad omen. Grandma's friend lived in a narrow, dark house with 4 doorbells. The topmost bell had her name written beside it. Hetty Hyssop. I hope she's not as weird as her name, thought Tom as he rang the bell. He had to wait a while for someone to open the door. As he climbed the dark stairs, he had a horribly queasy feeling in his stomach. Hetty Hyssop was standing in the open door of her apartment and raised her eyebrows in great astonishment as Tom came puffing up the stairs. She didn't look a bit like Tom's grandma. She was very tall and spindly, with a long, pointy nose and a heap of white curls piled on top of her head. "A young man," she said in a deep voice. "Well, I never. What brings you here?" Tom made it up to the last step and fiddled awkwardly with his glasses, rather embarrassed.
My name's Tom, and my grandma sent me."
"Ah, your grandma. And who is your grandma, might I ask?"
"Oh, right, yeah, Anna Barberry. She said to say hello and that you might be able to help me, but, I can't pay you very much."
"Well, you needn't worry about that, young man," said Hetty Hyssop, ushering Tom into her apartment. "It goes without saying that for my best friend's grandson, my services are, of course, free." "I'll just put the kettle on," said the old lady once she had installed Tom into her living room. "Do you take sugar?"
"Yes, please,"
said Tom. He didn't dare tell her that he didn't drink tea at all. Whilst Mrs. Hyssop was clattering around in the kitchen, Tom had a quick look around. What a weird apartment! There were mirrors all over the place. Even the table had a mirrored top. The sofa and a pair of armchairs were such a weird shape that you couldn't quite tell how you were supposed to sit on them. The lamp above Tom's head looked as if it came from another planet, and everything was red. The carpet, the curtains, the walls, the furniture, all red. The only normal thing was a bookshelf. "Tea is served," announced Hetty Hyssop, and put a teapot almost as flat as a flying saucer on the mirrored table. The mug she pushed in Tom's direction was crimson. Tom shoveled 4 spoonfuls of sugar into it, which made the tea taste semi-decent, but the steam misted his glasses, and after a second sip he was blind as a mole. "Well," said Hetty Hyssop, "in what manner may I be of assistance, young man?" Tom hastily cleaned his glasses and shoved them back onto his nose.
"In our cellar,"
he saw himself turn bright red in the mirrored tabletop.
"In our cellar, well, there's a ghost."
"Ah," said his hostess. "May I ask what kind of ghost we're talking about?"
"Oh, what kind?" stammered Tom.
"Well, now, there are many different types of ghosts," said Hetty Hyssop. "What exactly does this one look like?"
Tom looked at her, dumbfounded. "Well, it was kind of white," he eventually managed, "and it had icy fingers and garish green eyes and a hideous grin."
How big was it?" said Hetty Hyssop.
"Pretty big," said Tom. "It almost touched the cellar ceiling."
"Oh, that's not very big," Hetty Hyssop replied. "Some ghosts are easily as big as a skyscraper. Did you notice anything sticky on the floor?"
Tom nodded. "My shoes got stuck," he said nervously. That stuff about ghosts as big as skyscrapers was really getting to him.
"Well, did you get them off the floor again?"
"What?"
"Your shoes."
No, but my sister did."
Hetty Hyssop tapped her pointy nose. "Just one last question. What exactly did the ghost do?"
"Oh, it pulled at me all over," said Tom. Just the memory of it gave him goosebumps. "And it tried to strangle me with its icy fingers and made these beastly howling noises."
"Well, no doubt about it, young man," said his hostess, pouring Tom another cup of tea. "There's an ASG in your cellar, an averagely spooky ghost. That's good news, you might say. Perfectly routine job for Hetty Hyssop."
"Does that mean you can get rid of it?" asked Tom. A tidal wave of relief washed over him.
"Oh, no, not me," said the old lady, pulling a fat red book off the shelf. "You're going to get rid of it yourself, young man, with my help." That didn't sound quite so reassuring.
So how's that going to happen? Asked Tom.
Very easily, said Hetty Hyssop, flipping through a red book and evidently looking for something. Ah, here it is. The eviction of an ASG. Pay close attention to this, young man. I'll read it to you.
Chapter 4. Slimy Trails in the Dark. Sighing, Tom took off his glasses and cleaned them carefully once more. He'd taken Hetty Hyssop's advice and was wearing only red clothes. That hadn't been easy. He borrowed the red sweater from his father and the socks from Lola. 5 to 11. Tom stuffed the hot water bottle under his T-shirt. Yuck. That felt nasty. Luckily, Mom hadn't seen him filling the wretched thing, or she'd have thought there was something seriously wrong with him. Heat is an absolutely reliable means to scare off ASGs, Hetty Hyssop had said. Well, let's hope so, thought Tom. The thing's a pain in the butt to carry. Then he stuck a spare pair of shoes into the back of his belt and hung Mom's circular mirror around his neck. Next, he sprayed himself from head to toe in Lola's favorite perfume and tucked Dad's old boombox under his arm. Music is a wonderful weapon against the smaller ghost, Hetty had said, but it has to be the right music. I personally always recommend Mozart. You can't really go wrong with ASGs and Mozart. So Tom had purloined some Mozart from his parents. The only thing missing was the raw egg. Carefully, Tom slipped it into his sweater pocket. Don't take a flashlight, whatever you do, young man, Hetty Hyssop had warned him. Flashlights drive ghosts absolutely mad. But you'll realize very soon that one can see rather well in the light a ghost exudes. Tom would have felt a good deal better with a flashlight, but never mind. With one last look around, he checked whether he had forgotten anything. Boy, I hope nobody sees me like this, he thought. Then he stuffed a couple of pillows under his blankets to make it look like he was lying in bed, turned off the light, and opened his bedroom door. It was exactly 11 o'clock. Nobody spotted him. How could they? Lola was no doubt lying in bed listening to soppy music on her headphones, and Mom and Dad were watching TV. In the stairwell, all was quiet as well. Tom decided not to turn on the lights, just to be on the safe side. Otherwise, he might find Miss Parker peering down at him any minute. The light from the street lamps coming in through the corridor window was enough anyway. Silently, Tom crept past the apartments of Miss Smarmy Smith, the Pinchermans, and Mr. Rinaldini. He could hear muffled TV noises coming from behind all the doors. Typical, thought Tom. I'm saving the building from a vile ghost, and they're all sitting peacefully in front of their TVs. Tom released a deep, self-pitying sigh, and then stood stock still. There, just a few steps down, a moldy, green, shimmery something was dancing in front of Caretaker Grouchman's door. The cellar ghost, no doubt about it. Tom felt the goosebumps rising despite his hot water bottle. A glistening trail of slime stretched up the dark stairs all the way to Grouchman's doormat, which was so revoltingly slimy that it looked like candy someone had sucked on and spat out again. I'll just tiptoe back upstairs now, thought Tom. I'll tiptoe back upstairs as quiet as a mouse. Let stupid old Grouchman sort out that specter. Main thing is, it's gone from our cellar. But precisely at that moment, when Tom just wanted to turn around, the ghost looked up at him. It opened wide its garish green eyes, grew at least 6 feet high, and stretched its icy fingers out to him. Tom trembled so much that Dad's sweater slipped off his shoulders. That's it, he thought, squeezing his eyes shut. I'm dead. But this time the icy fingers didn't grab him. Instead, a low moaning filled the stairwell. Cautiously, Tom opened one eye. The ghost stared into the mirror on his chest, moaned again, and quickly floated back downstairs. Tom's teeth stopped chattering immediately. The hideous thing was running away. It had run away from him. 1-0 Tom, and 3 cheers for Hetty Hyssop. The courage of a lion spread through Tom's wildly beating heart. Certain that victory was his, he rushed past Grouchman's door and down the stairs. The mirror bumped against his chin. The spare shoes jumped out of his belt. The hot water bottle almost slipped out of his sweater, and the whole time he had to avoid those wretched, slimy trails. But nothing could stop him. One more flight of stairs, and he was in the basement. Wailing, the ghost rushed down the long, dark corridor, past Igor Grouchman's cellar door, past Miss Parker's, past Miss Smarmy Smith's. Then, suddenly, it turned around, emitted an angry howl, and disappeared through Tom's cellar door. Tom braked sharply and gasped for breath. "That," he cried as he unlocked the door with trembling fingers, "will get you nowhere." Then he switched on the boombox, turned it up to full volume, and stormed into the cellar accompanied by a pounding orchestra. "Oh!" shrieked the ghost, beating a wobbly retreat into the farthest corner of the room. Tom turned on the freshly installed light bulb. Pop! Once again it exploded into 1,000 pieces. "Doesn't matter," thought Tom. "I've almost got it." "Ah!" choked the ghost, turning bluish. Probably the effect of Lola's perfume. Tom was groping his way deeper into the dark cellar when the boombox gave up on him. And however desperately Tom shook it, he couldn't get a single peep out of it. Bad news. Extremely bad news. The ghost immediately grew till it hit the ceiling. "Ooh!" it howled, puffing itself up and spitting a revolting yellow liquid onto the mirror. Then, with a foul smile, it floated over to Tom. "Retreat!" thought Tom. "Orderly retreat!" Then he realized that he was once again glued to the spot, and his spare shoes were somewhere up on the stairs. Curses! "Yeah!" howled the ghost, who reached for him with moldy hands, then fell back, wailing. "The hot water bottle! 2-0, Hetty Hyssop!" "Ha! That'll teach you to gloat, you freak!" cried Tom, whipping the raw egg out of his pocket. "And I've got something else for you." Smash! He hit the ghost right in the center of its pale chest. "Ah!" it howled, rubbing at the raw egg like mad. And then it began to sob and shrink until it was a whole head smaller than Tom. "Get out of our cellar!" cried Tom. "Now!" "No, no, no," sniveled the ghost, pressing its egg-covered fingers over his face. "Have mercy on me, oh, please." Baffled, Tom set his glasses straight. "I don't know where else to go," howled the ghost, hideously rolling his green eyes. Hetty Hyssop hadn't said anything about sobbing ghost. Flabbergasted, Tom plunked himself down on a milk crate. Was this some kind of trick? But the ghost really didn't look that dangerous anymore. It even shimmered slightly pinkish. "Have you always lived down here?" asked Tom. "Of course not," the ghost sniveled irritably, and for a moment its hideous mold-colored reappeared. "Do you think it's fun living in this third-rate cellar? But," it started sobbing again, "what joys do I have?" "What do you mean?" asked Tom. "Where did you live before?" "None of your business," said the ghost, flickering like a broken light bulb. "No, absolutely none of your business." "Okay, so get lost then," said Tom, insulted, "or I'll go and get a dozen eggs." "Bully," sniveled the ghost, rolling its eyes in indignation. "You have a disgusting personality. My story is far too sad to tell anyone." "Oh, come on," said Tom. He was starting to feel curious. "All right, then," said the ghost, rubbing at the raw egg once more. "But then can I stay here?" "We'll see," said Tom. "First you have to tell me the story." "Disgusting," the ghost muttered again. But then it sank down onto a pile of old newspapers and began.